Welcome back. In today's video, I have my Cabo San Lucas review. I got a lot of great footage for you guys, and I'm really excited to show you. And it just proves just because you work with your hands doesn't mean you can't have a decent life. Now, full disclaimer, I am not someone who is an Instagram influencer who jet sets and travels around the world once a month. I get to have one vacation usually once a year. And so with enough preparation, you can still have an amazing vacation. We booked this trip around 8 months in advance, and it only costs $3,000 for 7 days. That's flight included, all inclusive, food and drinks. You cannot beat that deal. Flight time from Cabo to Portland should only be around 4 hours, but because of labor shortages and whatever was going with the pandemic, that kind of aftermath stuff, we had to have a layover in LA, and that layover was only 45 minutes. So it's pretty much rushing straight from our plane to the next one. So that made things really hectic, a lot of running. I didn't really expect that. I was wearing flip-flops. So again, make sure you prepare yourself and don't do what I did. Next thing, when you're going to Mexico, make sure you have all your ducks in a row before you land. I'm talking about your van or bus that's taking you to a resort, so that you're not leaving the plane and going to the airport wondering, how am I gonna get to my resort? And now you have all these sketchy people trying to sell you this and that deal, and you don't know who's legit and who's not, who's gonna take your money and who's not. So make sure you plan ahead, and you're gonna make yourself save yourself that much more time and energy. And again, because the flight was so long, make sure that if you are someone who's impatient, make sure you plan a van or bus that's going directly to your resort and not doing 5 or 6 stops, because that can make a 30-minute trip turn into an hour and a half, depending on how big the bus is and depending on how much they have to deviate off course. So make sure you do that first, because when you plan everything beforehand, it makes your life that much easier when you get there. The resort we stayed at was Pueblo Bonito, and it was very, very beautiful. And because we came with another couple, they ended up upgrading us into a penthouse suite. So we got the corner, we had 2 levels, and we had amazing views of the beach. We chose a resort that was right off the beach, but also that was swimmable. A lot of places in Cabo don't have swimmable beaches. And so when you're going, make sure you keep that in mind, because there's places with like riptides, or places where the water is too strong, or there's a lot of jagged rocks, so it's not swimmable. So make sure, if you want to go to the beach every day and that's something you want to do, make sure you keep that in mind when you're booking your resort. Now, another piece of advice that I said in my last video when I went to Cancun, and it applies here too, make sure that you're bringing enough spare singles that you can tip. Most people, they're going to expect it, and a lot of people only survive off your tips. I'm talking about bellboys, your concierge, your waiters, your bartenders. You don't got to tip a lot, a couple dollars here and there, but it definitely changes their life. I've spoken to a couple people who work there that say pretty much they only survive off a tip. So I make sure that I bring around like 300s and ones, because there's some places you go to outside of the resort that are only going to take cash, and you don't want to have, a lot of big bills on you. So I just keep, 20, 30 ones on me at all times to make it a little bit easier. And yeah, that's really important. Now, when it comes to the food and the drinks on the resort, the drinks are going to be plentiful, and you'd be surprised what kind of quality alcohol. I got a lot of Don Julio, a lot of tequila. As you can see, my face got a little bit puffy from all the alcohol I drank, but it definitely was worth it as far as the exclusive drinks. Now, the food was decent at the resorts. You notice that there's a lot of older people there, a lot of people who are retired. So it seems like all of the food is kind of brought down to the lowest common denominator, as far as like, it's not a lot of salt on there, it's not a lot of sugar. And I think they do that for the people who are older, so you're not messing up their like maybe their sodium intake or for diabetes. So the food is not as flavorful. If you want the best quality food, you're gonna go outside of the resort. And again, it's authentic and it's fairly cheap. A lot of street tacos, a lot of different Mexican cuisines you can find fairly easily right at your resort. So if you want to be a little more adventurous, go right at your resort, maybe a 15-minute walk, and there's gonna be everything you want as far as Mexican food right there for you. Now, speaking about going outside of your resort, there are a lot of dope places that you can visit around, the Cabo downtown area. One place was Squid Row. Now, me and my wife, we are not nighttime people. I'm kind of stuck into this like old man, phase in life. I work a job, I have to get up at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning every day. And so I can't really switch my time schedule. We don't stay out late at night, but Squid Row is still a cool place to visit inside, during the day. We went to Cabo Wabo, and we also did the Giggling Marlin where they hoist you up and they give you a shot, and that was pretty cool. So there's a lot of nice little tourist things you can do in the city that are the main Instagram places. We went to the smallest bar in Mexico. That was pretty cool. Got to put a little dollar up. So there's a lot of little cool things you can do. Also, in the marina, this is a place where you can kind of trust more of the locals, where they'll take you on a water taxi and take you on the arches to show you the sea lions or just the rock configuration, and they'll take you and do a whole little tour all the way around. They'll do the little chum and throw it out and feed the fishes. So you can do a lot of cool little things for maybe $20 to $15 to $20 per person if you do the full tour, or $15 for just to take you to the island. And that was pretty cool in itself, going to Lover's Island or Divorce Beach and just sitting there for a couple hours. You can swim in the water, beautiful. The water temperature is around 75 to 80 degrees, and this was in November, so it was phenomenal. Something that someone who's from Oregon, we never see. Our beaches are never warm, and even if it's 100 degrees in Portland, it's still 65, 70 in the coast. So this was definitely a great change of pace in Mexico, and I love it. It's phenomenal. Now, one thing I do want to do is give a shout out to, I've seen all the guys who are working in Mexico, all the locals. They were really busting their ass. I've seen a lot of carpenters, a lot of masons really getting it in. And Mexico definitely is what Texas wants to be as far as lack of regulations, handrail, being required to wear a face mask during saw cutting. They were going crazy. But one thing I did notice was everybody was laughing. Everybody was so joyful. And obviously they're not putting on a show for us locals. It's just a different way of living down there. It seems like every time I go to Mexico, I kind of had this feeling I cannot be ungrateful with the life that I have, seeing how hard they work, and I know how much money they make is going to be scales and magnitudes less than I make, and they still bust their ass and still do it with a smile on their face. So I feel I have no place to ever complain, and so it definitely does give me a different perspective going down there. Now, when we went down to Cabo, it was during Dia de Muertes, Day of the Dead, and so we went down to the art walk in San Jose del Cabo, and we seen some amazing artwork. La Ofrendas, I believe they're pronounced, and there are a lot of little altars. You've seen a lot of people post photos of their family members that have passed away with some of their favorite foods, and that was really cool to see different traditions and see how people live. I mean, for me, it really just shows people, it shows different ways of living, and it definitely opens my eyes to different perspectives. I really appreciated that. A lot of the artwork was really beautiful. I wasn't able to take any pictures because they asked that we don't, because they're obviously selling it and they have Instagram pages. So I wanted to honor their wishes. They also had a lot of good food there. We went down to a local little hole in the wall restaurant. We had some great fajitas. I'm still average American, so I didn't venture out too far, but great food, great atmosphere. I definitely loved a lot of the architecture. I'm really big on architecture, and I love all the traditional buildings and just the cobblestone. definitely a place to visit when you go down to Cabo is San Jose del Cabo. Now, another couple activities that we did while we were down there was we went ATV riding. Now, I didn't get a lot of footage of that because it was very difficult to get my GoPro set up. I apologize for that. It had like a corrupt file, so I didn't get a lot of footage from that. I apologize. But I did get a couple of videos of the beach. They were definitely beautiful, and riding ATVs alongside of that beautiful ocean is something you have to see for yourself. A lot of the beaches are so beautiful and impressive, and the water is so vivid that these are things that even if I had, the best drone or best camera, you're not gonna really understand how beautiful it is if you don't see it for yourself. So this is something that I definitely advocate for everybody to try at least one time in their life. Now, also, we did a catamaran tour. This one was a lot more chill than the last one. In Cancun, it was a lot of go, 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 go. We had our itinerary where we had to be at this place, this place, this place. I almost drowned during the scuba diving because it was so hectic, and they had dropped off like 5 boats all in the same area, and they were like marching us around. The water was really rough, but this time the waters were a lot more chill. We did a little 45-minute journey to an area. We all jumped out, seen some fish. It was very beautiful, and then came back in about an hour and a half and came right back. So it was a lot less hectic, very, very beautiful. And just overall, the beaches and the water are so beautiful. I was literally like, they were like breathtaking. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was something that I'd never seen before. And I just think that just because you work a normal job doesn't mean you can't experience beautiful things and see wonderful things in this life. And it only takes saving up a little bit of money every single month to achieve something like this. Now, it's a lot easier because I am a union carpenter and my wife does work, but it's something you should see for yourself. Even if it takes 2 years to save up, it's something that it's definitely worth the visit and the money. So overall, it was an amazing trip, beautiful. The sunsets, the sunrises were gorgeous. Again, sometimes I was just awestruck by how beautiful the country was. And just to think that someone like me can see something like this coming from the background that I have, I was just awestruck. So again, I appreciate you guys for watching. Hope you guys like the review. I might do a Cabo versus Cancun comparison. If you want to see something like that, please like and comment on this video. I appreciate you guys. Hope to see you guys next time. Peace.